everyone, it's Claire from The Planning Guide, and today we're talking about the top 5 tips for staying warm and happy in Disneyland Paris during a winter holiday there. So if you've made the decision to go to Disneyland in winter, first of all, that's great. I think that's a really good idea, and I'm going to tell you why. So you are going in a slightly quieter time, if there is such a thing at Disney. But honestly, queues are going to be shorter in the winter. You're also going to be wearing a mask still, but it's not hot outside. You're not going to have to battle with mask wearing in the heat. And actually, you might be quite grateful of your mask in the cold. So I think that's another really good decision. Also, January and February, you do find that Disney will put on little extra bits here and there, or they test things out that they're going to be doing later on. For example, you've got the 30th anniversary celebrations coming up from March 5th. What they did at the 25th anniversary celebrations was they were testing things the week before. So I happened to be there at that time. They tested out their special shows, their parades, characters in costumes came out. So sometimes you get sneak peeks at little things as well. But we do need to consider it's winter, it's Paris. That does mean it's cold. It does mean that you might experience rain. It really doesn't matter as long as you have planned for it. And that's why I'm going to take you through my top 5 tips. So my tip 1 for you is hand and feet warmers. The reason I say both hand and feet is you are going to be doing a lot of walking, but also sometimes standing around. And standing around in the cold does mean that your feet, and especially on little ones, are going to get really chilly. These heat warmers that you can get come in 2 different varieties. So you can get ones that are rechargeable, but I find them quite a faff on holiday. So I would suggest to you the disposable ones. I know disposable isn't great. We should be careful with recycling, but for your special holiday in Disneyland, I think this is one time where you're gonna have to just do it. You can find these in places like Sports Direct or Amazon. I've linked the Amazon one below, but in Sports Direct sometimes they do them 2 for £2, and this is not massively expensive if you're only going for 3 or 4 days. And there is nothing worse than little ones that are cold and grumpy on a Disney day when you want them to have a great time. So a small investment to keep everybody warm and toasty. Tip 2 from me is layers. Predominantly thermal layers. I do believe in thermals in Disneyland in winter. By thermals, I don't want you to think about kind of traditional grandma, granddad thermals. I mean just that extra layer. It could be what your kids wear for sports, if they do football, hockey, anything like that, and you have body armor type layers on them. Those are brilliant. Or it can be the more traditional cotton ones that you can also get. Don't just think about your kids for thermals, make sure you've got them as well. You might not need them every single day of your holiday, but if you're having a look on the great weather apps like AccuWeather, you can have a look for when that temperature is really going to drop. And no matter what, if you're staying for Illuminations, which is at park close, it's going to be cold. If you're there in January or February, that sort of time of the evening, you're going to be chilly. You want to stay for the fireworks? Of course you do, but you just need to wrap up. The other reason why I say layers is because sometimes in winter you can get beautiful sunshine. It's happened to me. So I've been to Disney quite a lot during the February half term. Sometimes it's been absolute brilliant sunshine and I've needed sun hats and sun cream and t-shirts, and other times I've been and it's felt pretty similar to going to Lapland or something like that. So this is why I suggest thin layers that you can take on and off. Because you've got to think you're going in and out of a lot of attractions that have queues inside. After that rider attraction, you're stepping back out into the cold. If you've just got a t-shirt and a big winter coat, you're not going to be able to acclimatize as easy, or you're going to end up carrying around everyone's big winter coats. And that's not fun. Thin layers will go in a bag that you've got on you. So that's what I advise. Tip 3 is definitely take a part bag with you. In summer, sometimes you get away with just having a couple of little bits on you. I understand. In winter, you really can't. I would suggest having a part bag. Now, I've seen people go on with really tiny little bags, and I've seen people go on with huge, looks like camping bags. My suggestion is the sweet spot is in the middle, a small backpack. That's what I'm thinking. I will insert a picture here so that you can see the type that I would suggest, but it's really got to be what you think you're going to need in that part bag for that day. But in winter, you need to think about additional things that might be in there, like waterproof trousers, those thin layers that I spoke about in tip 2. You're going to want somewhere to put them to keep them. It may well be as well that in your part bag, you have a smaller drawstring bag or a carrier bag even that you can get out just to carry those layers so that you haven't got to carry around as big a backpack all day. But you will need something, trust me. Tip 4 is ziploc bags. So I mentioned your park bag in tip 3. You need to think about what you're putting in that bag and could anything get wet or damaged. You've got your camera, your phone, your purse, your wallet, special memories if you buy a photo. You really don't want them getting wet or ruined by anything you might put in. What might that be? That might be those rainproof trousers I was talking about, or that might be a thin layer that has got wet or cold and you want to put it in the bag. If that mixes with your precious things, something bad's going to happen. We don't want that. The Ziploc bags, and I do mean the larger size ones, I've put a description of what I'm talking about below with a link for you on the sort of size to get, is going to be really helpful, and their quality. The reason why I say get the quality ones, not the cheap ones, is no one likes single-use plastic, and the thin ones, really, you've got to use them once and then get rid of them. That's not great. These quality ones you can use time and time again. Just buy a couple because they're going to last you, especially if you're only using them for holidays and days out. So make sure you've just put a couple in your park bag before you head to the parks. Tip 5 is definitely comfortable waterproof shoes for all the family. And I do mean waterproof, not water resistant. There is a difference. I also suggest something with an ankle in winter. Reason being, Disney is quite flat and okay to get around, but you do still find large puddles everywhere. And if a little one sees a puddle, what are they going to do? They're going to jump in it. And you're at Disney, you want them to have fun, but you also don't want them to have wet feet all day long. They will get cold, they will get grumpy, they won't want to stay, you'll get upset, it'll be a big mess. You don't want that. So make sure everyone has got the appropriate footwear, but also if you're buying new footwear, make sure you've let everyone wear it in and get comfortable. The type of boots that I'm thinking, and I'm thinking boots particularly for women that are going, is something that is just above ankle boot. I've put a description in the box below of the boots that I wear. They are definitely waterproof, they are definitely warm, and what I like is they come in width fittings and half sizes, which is great for making sure that you have really comfortable footwear. For little ones, I would advise something, a trainer that's got a high ankle, like a high top. Again, just make sure that they're waterproof, not water resistant. If you have got them already, if you've got snow boots for little ones that aren't too chunky, but you know are comfortable, that is a great idea because they will stay really warm and definitely waterproof. I'm not saying it's going to magically snow on your Disney holiday. It does sometimes. I have been lucky enough to be there in the snow and it's lovely, but it doesn't tend to settle. So you're not going to want loads and loads of snow layers. Don't think like that. But snow boots on little ones are a good idea. And for men, again, when you're looking at footwear, something with a slightly higher ankle than what you normally tend to have, just make sure you've broken those in as well. Okay, a bonus tip from me for this video about staying warm and dry and happy in Disneyland Paris is to learn a few places in the different lands where you and your family and group can go in to warm up again, to feel your fingers, feel your toes, and just generally have a few minutes peace before moving on to the next attraction. At times of day when you might need somewhere like that is if you've just been waiting outside for the parade, for a character meet. So the type of place I'm thinking of for you is places like Hyperion in Discoveryland. Hyperion is a quick service restaurant, but the seating area is absolutely huge. And if you were to walk right down the far right hand side, so the furthest away from Buzz Lightyear, it's more towards the back end if you're heading to Star Tours, there is an entrance where they've got some vending machines for hot drinks. So it is perfectly acceptable to go in there if you're not eating. Just grab yourself a hot drink. There's some great bathrooms as well there that are really big, so there's very infrequently a queue, and you can just warm up. So in each land, I would just have an idea of you and your family or group's place to go for a nice warm up. If you follow my tips and do a bit of planning, there is no reason why you can't be happy and warm in Disneyland Paris in winter.